Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission in the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the evacuation mission from Halo 5 on the next episode. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the Meridian Station and Unconfirmed missions from Halo 5. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krysta Brown.
3, 2, 1, fight!
Yeah.
Big fight.
This is a big fight. There's lots of stuff happening in this episode. It will be fun. All right, last mission was glassed. While Halsey, Lasky, Palmer, and Roland attempted to sort out the Cortana conundrum, Fireteam Osiris was deployed on Meridian in pursuit of Blue Team. Upon arrival, they were met by a grumpy governor that's dealing with a Promethean invasion. Locke and the gang quickly take up arms and help defend the corporate excavation effort. Aboard gun geese, warthogs, and even a scorpion tank, the fireteam of trackers quell the attack and head into Meridian Station for a chat with Governor Sloan. This episode, we're covering Meridian Station and Unconfirmed. Sloan is revealed to be an aging AI and remains reluctant to assist in the search for Blue Team. However, Locke sweet-talks him into providing transport to Apogee Station, where John 117 and his team were last seen. Fireteam Osiris follows the trail deep underground, where they encounter heavy Promethean resistance and a warden that claims loyalty to Cortana. The date of the game is October 25th, 2558. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with Meridian Station, and we're going to talk about the little... What is this mission? David, what's going on here? What are we doing?
It's so bizarre. I remember at the time being like, what is it? Are we getting something more? It kind of felt like... It's like Halo 5... was something else, and then it became Halo 5. And essentially what we have are Hope Worlds. And this isn't the only one in the game. I didn't mind it. I know a lot of people are pretty down on it, but I actually didn't mind it because I liked the idea of non-combat situations in Halo and getting a bit of exploration in. This one probably wasn't amazing. Like, there isn't actually a whole lot to do, and I feel like there probably should have been more. It's very short. You'll kind of go through it. There's just essentially there's a bunch of intel in here. There's some dialogue, loose options. It's kind of go here, talk to this person, go here, talk to that person. Oh, great, now you're finished. Now go here and leave.
It's the most boring parts of an RPG.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it belongs with the rest of the game, which is kind of weird. But I do appreciate to try something new. Think that it is probably either something that was left over from something else or something that didn't get fully fleshed out.
Yeah. Love the concept, hate the execution.
But we're lore people, right? Like, we should love this.
It's
a chance to just
not a
walk around.
lore thing, though. How much lore did you actually pick up on this mission?
Well, you'll cover that in some intel, I think. But, yeah, I mean, the walk around, actually going to the two different people that you need to go to. You hear one line of dialogue, and then they suss out where to go from there.
There's like a reveal at the very start, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
That was interesting the
We'll
first
talk
time
about
around.
that. Yeah. So let's get into it then. So you start out, we've just defended the wall, and now we've cleared all the Forerunners or the Prometheans. Sloan's opened the door. Now we've gone inside, and we still have our guns in our hand, which is a little awkward. Like, there's no... I was thinking about today, is like, why do we never just holster our guns and put them on our backs and walk around with our hands, so we can see our hands instead of our just holstered gun to the side? But that was a decision they made. So we can't do anything. We can't do any more Spartan stuff. We can just walk around. We can run around, though, I think, right? We can still sprint. But no ground pounding or anything like that.
Damn it, I wanted to kill the civilians.
I'm sure that's what they were worried about. You probably just go around murdering everybody.
That's what I did in Skyrim.
You can talk to some people here and there, and there's little dialogue options. And so I don't think anything terribly interesting. People are just kind of curious why you're here or grumpy about something.
They're very
But
hostile towards you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I do want to talk about the giant ship that's hanging above the Meridian Station. What is that thing? Is it just docked and hanging out?
Yeah,
Did
probably.
you guys look into that at all? I forgot to look into that today before the show. But there's a ship that is just right above the settlement that I would imagine they can use for whatever whenever they want to get out of there with a bunch of people. But that's just parked on top there, so you always see that on top, and you can, if you look up at it, it's like sparking here and there. I don't know if they're fixing it or what's going on.
I want to say, and I might have picked this up somewhere, that it's like a colony ship where it's permanently docked. Like it's something that lands.
So that's where they live.
Yeah, it lands and then it becomes the station. Like you build out around it. So like the Meridian Station is this ship plus its surrounding area. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's what it is. I could have picked that up from somewhere else though.
Is it a book or something?
Yeah, I wonder why I think it, but that's what I think it is. Or that's my interpretation.
I was curious why. I mean, there's the settlement below, and there's not a whole lot going on. There's some buildings here and there, but I was curious because there's enough citizens around. It's like, where is everybody sleeping? Where's the mess hall? So that would make sense if they just kind of pop up in there, and that's where their day-to-day stuff is, or where they eat, sleep, and drink.
Because given what happens in the next kind of mission or two, I felt like if it was flyable, it would have been part of it. But
yeah. So let's meet Governor Sloan.
What? Is he a nice man?
He's a kind of a man. He's very big and very blue and very naked.
Oh no!
Oh.
We know we have plenty of big blue naked people in Halo.
Oh yeah, we don't need another one. Can he be purple?
But he's got some stuff going on. He's not quite right. You can tell once you see him, and I think there's a conversation between Tanaka and maybe Buck or Vale. I'm forgetting which one, but they say something's not quite right. He looks a little off.
And they say it's rampancy.
So the reveal is that he's an AI. We never actually said that.
Yep. Yeah. The reveal is that he is
No,
not.
he's just a giant naked blue person.
Yeah.
And he has this big podium stand thing that he's addressing everybody, but you don't really interact with him at that point. You just have to kind of go. There's a waypoint. You go and just stand in front of it, and then he disappears, and then you kind of have your awkward conversation about him. And then you do have a conversation with him. You say, "Hey, I'm trying to figure out what's going on." He's like, "Yeah, go ahead, go talk to people. Just do it quick." And so then you get 2 waypoints to go talk to 2 different people. And one of them reveals the location by just one sentence. He talks about he came from Apogee, I think, is what it was. And they're like, "Hey, wait a minute, I think that's where we're going." And then the other one talks about how in the same location, I think there was, the Forerunners are there. There was like some earthquake or something was going on there. And then the other guy's in the medical bay, and he says. He's talking about how he escaped on a mongoose, and then you interact with him, and he talks about, hey, why don't you go coordinate a little bit better with your UNSC pals, and so that confirms that it was, or as they're thinking about that, it confirms that it was Blue Team and their prowler that they were on. Do you guys wander around that much here? I mean, if you played it once or maybe twice, you've probably done everything. You've gone around and gotten all the intel. So really, you can just do this super duper quick. Just talk to 2 people, go to the next person, or you can just skip it altogether if you're not into it. But I did find it interesting that there are people on top of the buildings that you can have conversations with.
Why are they there?
I don't know. I think it's just you can clamber and climb up and go talk to them a little bit. But it's fun. I mean, they give you the chance to slow down a little bit with this mission, explore a little bit, is there 8 pieces of intel? Is that right, Krysta?
Yeah, there's a lot.
So, if you want to be a completionist, it gives you something to wander around and do and find, and thank goodness for the Artemis scan, so that it makes it a little bit easier. No skull in this mission at all, but wander around. I think enjoy what they've built. They built this cool little area for you to at least wander around. This is Meridian Station, and it's part of the larger Meridian that they've built, and that's kind of the centerpiece of this middle section of the game here. I don't know. Any other thoughts, David?
Nope.
So
Felt like there should be more to it. And there is.
Yeah, it was a little small. Like, it would be cool if you could actually go up into that ship. Now that you say that would be fun to be able to go up there in some capacity. But so after you talk to the two people, then you say, okay, they're at Apogee Station. I want to find a little bit more about Apogee Station. So you access a terminal, and then the terminal more or less says where you need to go. And then from there, Sloan says, hey, I'll be nice and give you a pelican. You can take this and go head over to Apogee Station. That's where the next mission starts. So it's a little tiny thing. There's a couple more throughout Halo 5. Some of the other executions are probably a little bit better, but I think it's an interesting thing that they built. But there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot to do, and not a whole lot of reason to come back really if you've done it once. There is an interesting Easter egg in here where there's like a vending machine that you can go and interact with. And if you interact with it, I think it's like 10 times or something like that, a soccer ball or a football will pop out. And it's giant, like it's almost the size of the Spartans themselves. And you can kick it around. So go look that up or do it yourself and have some fun with that. There's actually some commentary as well about, scoring a goal and things like that. Did you guys do that at all? Were you aware that was a thing?
Nope. I was not aware that was a thing.
Did they do something similar in other games? I feel like we've covered most of the trivia, but I don't remember. Did Reach do something fun?
Halo Reach had a similar like soccer ball that you could put into like Forge and stuff. Yeah, and there was a giant golf ball too. So I think that's where the assets came from.
I gotcha. That was the idea. Nice. The other thing that I was thinking about when I was going through this, and David, you talked about like maybe this was from something else, and who knows? I think we'll find out more about what the Halo 5 story, and if there are any changes a little bit further down the road. We don't know that much about it yet. But do you think this was originally potentially just a cutscene? Like there might have been because you could do everything that they accomplish besides going around and getting the intel. You could have these conversations with the miners or the local settlers here in a cutscene. You could meet Sloan in a quick cutscene, maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, and then be done. I'm wondering if maybe there was like a cutscene created with when the story was a little bit different, but then when it got close to like game time, they couldn't use the cutscene because there were enough changes that they couldn't salvage it. So they, built this city quickly and strew some intel around.
I don't know if that's the way it went down. And the only reason I think that is, I think a cutscene is easier to do than to create a level that you interact with, where you have to incorporate a whole bunch of mechanics, just in terms of how the player works and moves around the map. Especially because
but that's all built into the engine. Like you can, like you do Forge, and you can build an area with assets that already exist. Like doing a cutscene takes a lot of time and actors and assets and money and all that and time. So just a crazy theory about it. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out more down the road. But
I'd almost say
throw that out there.
Yeah, I almost got the feeling there should be more gameplay around this than there was. Like maybe a whole bunch of stuff got cut from it or never got
from
finished.
From a gameplay standpoint, sure.
Yeah,
that could be. Like maybe this was a hub where you came back multiple times
and did missions.
You went off and did a couple missions here and there and came back. Yeah,
so maybe like Locke's investigation and hunt. Maybe there was like more to it. You got the impression that character should have been doing more, because he was always advertised and marketed as like a hunter.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you do a little sleuthing here by talking to the two individuals, and you suss out where Blue Team is headed. And then, you convince, that didn't take much convincing, but then Sloan agrees to give you a pelican to go to the next place. to go track down Blue Team. So we're headed to Apogee next. But before we do that, let's just talk about the intel that's in this area, because if we cover it at the very end, it's going to be lots and lots of intel at the end of the episode.
Yeah, you don't want to hear my voice for that long, huh?
So, Krysta, what do they pack in here?
Oh, it's a lot of stuff about the Glassed Planet. Wow. Amazing. The first one is called Laser Operator's Personal Log, and it just says, I found a body in the glass today. It kind of talks about how they're scared of it and how they're supposed to be talking about it and stuff. But that's literally it. It's 9 seconds. The next one is Meridian Speculative Overview. It's someone talking about how Meridian didn't actually get it too bad. They hit the human settlements and then they kind of went off. They, of course, boiled some of the ocean off and some of the atmosphere. But the Covenant did a rush job and the planet survived. And less than a third is Lishalerite?
Yep.
Lishalerite.
Nailed it.
which is what happens when you glass the planet, pretty much. It's what the compound is called. The material, the mineral. So they're chipping away at the worst parts, and he says it should be done inside 20 years to get rid of all the glass. Or not all of it, but make it able to settle again. So, just a little ocean boiling, not too bad. Some atmosphere loss.
No big deal.
No big deal. The next one is Excavation Team Personal Log. So they're talking about how the plasma actually works. So the plasma they use to glass the planet burns so hot. Most of the stuff vaporizes, but sometimes there's a flicker in the beam, and the temp drops just enough so that stuff remains intact, like buildings and stuff like that, bodies, all that fun stuff that they're finding.
I found that interesting.
Yeah.
It's that nice little tidbit of why it's just not a perfect sheen. That it is actually, imperfect, I guess.
Yeah, that sometimes there's a glitch. And then he talks about he's finding dogs or something. What gets me through is the dogs just excavated a homestead, and there was a leash leading under the porch, so I'm taking the day off.
Well,
so he's finding dogs, and he's getting upset.
That's sad.
Of the dogs. Aw. Maybe he has I mean, they're kind of
person.
Well, maybe they're statues now, so now he has a dog cemetery of dog statues.
Oh god.
I don't know. Weird shit's happened. The D-Glass Team Personal Log cleared deep the other day, cut through what used to be a forest. They dug through into a natural cave, and they actually found some foliage and some water and some bugs, and they were very happy about that. Good job, guys. You found some bugs. D-Glass Team Incident Report. They're running a top-level D-Glass south of the populated area. They hit some kind of metal that they couldn't cut through. They ran a pulse and got some echoes of a subterranean structure or something.
Oh.
Ooh. So there's some loose soil beneath it, and whatever it is, it shrugged off the plasma bombardment. It's spooky. Settler Personal Log is... the high winds when the plasma picks up, it scatters things for miles. Stuff can get thrown into molten soil. And if it doesn't... Molten soil. And if it doesn't burn up, it sticks to stuff like amber, like flying amber. Or things get caught in bubbles of ash, like something inside a snow globe. So some things just happen, is what he says. Apparently, finding a single house untouched in a glass field. So, lovely place to live, guys. Great place.
Yep.
Second to last one is Settler's Personal Log, 6421. They're talking about up on the station, everything's gray and bland. Some folks are afraid of any place where the corners aren't round, because UNSC likes round corners for some reason. And and they're dreaming of living down there in the where the ground is ash and glass. Good riddance. Few years' time, kids who come up on Meridian are going to run this system. Bet your life. So, that's fun. The final one is Settler's Personal Log 0991. I don't get the guys who spend all their day worrying about Governor Salone. He's doing a hell of a job. Sure he's broken as hell and kind of fucked up. He talks with two voices sometimes, but most folks do the same. I don't know who this person is. Most folks do the same thing, two voices at once. Good job. It doesn't bother me. He's got Meridian's best at heart. Yeah, it's really nice. The AI is deteriorating and falling apart. Crazy blue naked man. So good. I love my life. Le Chatelier right. There, I said it.
Got it.
All right, that's it. I'm done.
Very nice.
Keep going.
I think it's interesting. It's like good world building, right? So you're
totally,
it's background on what's actually going on. I think it's interesting. They probably could have made it more interesting, as I talked about in the last episode, where it would have been nice if they kind of panned out and gave you, a little bit more visual around of the area, and just you see the impact as you're in it, and in the moment, and shooting Prometheans and whatnot. But this Meridian Station gives you a chance to kind of wander around a little bit, but you're wandering around in the station itself, Meridian Station, instead of like out on the actual glassed, terrain. But it's interesting that they give you some tidbits and whatnot. I think good stuff. Thanks, Krysta. All right, now we are gonna hop in that Pelican that Sloan so politely gave to us, and head over to Apogee Station. There's not really a cutscene. You just kind of, there's a mini cutscene where you really just hop out of the Pelican. They say, "Oh, you gave us an escort as well," which Sloan comments on. He's like, "Yeah, I want to have somebody keep an eye on you guys." But he's kind of sketchy, right? It's interesting that these humans or this corporation has trusted this AI that's kind of broken down now. So to run this area, this colony, and oversee them, and to that point of the intel that you just read off, is like some people probably are okay with it, but some people, seeing that he is going a little bit rampant, are a little bit worried with it. So yeah, this Apogee Station, it says on Halopedia it's just like it's a settlement, but it seems like it's maybe a settlement / mining area, because as you see during the mission, like there's some stuff that we're gonna go down the giant deep hole.
Ooh,
but
what? Sounds nice.
Yeah, sounds great. So hop off the Pelican and just explore around, poke around a little bit. There might be some intel to grab in this area as well. But you just kind of head up into this building up ahead of you. There's some miners that are going to join you, and you can interact with them and give them weapons. They have weapons. David, you're usually the guy that leverages your Marines and your buddies. Did you leverage these guys at all?
No, I don't think they do a whole lot, to be honest. But no, I never gave them anything. I kind of just moved through this mission pretty quick, actually. I was actually shocked at how short this was. But no, I did not reinforce these dudes.
It's a pretty quick, like you don't travel a long way, but the encounters sometimes take a long time. So especially in this coming up here in a little bit, there's a pretty long encounter. But yeah, so right away you get into this area. There's like some burning vehicles down below, and there's a bunch of crawlers that you get to take out. There are some captains in the distance that have their splinter turrets that you got to take out. Anything, Krysta? What's your approach in this first area? Are you pretty gung ho? Are you going down below and trying to take everybody out? Or are you staying back?
No, I stay back pretty much. There's a lot of snipers in this area, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, in the next area, there's a couple more, but there are some. Yeah,
there's turrets to activate. I like to activate the
turrets.
Yeah, I like the turrets a lot. That's what I did. I activated the turrets, and
that's in the next area. I think is the turrets. This first area is like getting we got to climb up to the prowler first.
Oh, okay.
And then once we get down below, that's when we can do some stuff.
Sure. If I remember, there was just a normal turret like off to the left once you enter this big area where the stairs are.
Yeah, there might have been. Yeah.
I just grabbed that and I just kind of murdered them all.
Yeah, I mean, David, anything out of the ordinary that you're doing? Or is it just more just Halo fun time, getting used to killing the soldiers still?
Yeah, pretty much. Nothing crazy here. It's not all that interesting of an encounter.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I guess the next area is where you can get overwhelmed a little bit more. But the splinter turrets can, a lot of times they're getting lobbed in the distance. And I was playing with a buddy of mine from work named Justin, and we had a couple downed moments where we had to pick each other up. But overall, it wasn't too bad in this area. What's interesting though is that we are going to encounter that prowler that blue team had here in a little bit. But we gotta clear out this area. Then we start to ascend the platform, I guess is what it would be called, but we're kind of going up around on these stairs. It's kind of a cool little structure I think that they built. It looks cool. Gives you something to do rather than just run straight forward anyway. So you gotta climb up top a little bit, and then you see our first watcher.
What?
We haven't seen a watcher yet. Yeah,
that was so nice without them.
I know.
Yeah.
There's some knights up here hanging out and some soldiers on top of this platform. There's a bunch of stairs kind of around and some verticality that you can use or to your advantage or use to escape, I guess. But then you see that prowler off in the distance, which is really cool. You can climb up on that prowler if you want to.
You can go inside it.
You should definitely go inside it.
There's something in there.
Yeah, there is something in there. What is in there, Krysta?
Nornfang.
Nornfang, what?
What? Linda left her sniper rifle. Why?
Why is she leaving? Yeah, exactly. It's got a cool paint application to it. But is it more powerful than the other snipers, or is it just kind of a regular sniper with a paint job?
So in multiplayer,
it definitely is. In
Yeah.
the campaign, I don't think there's any difference. It doesn't pick up ammo from sniper rifles, but I don't think it.
Oh, it doesn't.
It doesn't. No, you only get what you get in the clip when you pick it up, and I didn't notice any strength or any functionality difference between this one and a regular one.
Yeah, in the multiplayer one, it gives you damage boost and it has explosive bullets.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. This one does not. This one is kind of just a skin, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to even tell if it does any more damage as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it probably doesn't do a ton.
It's just kind of cool.
How did you feel about the Watchers now that we're finally seeing them again? Were they as annoying as they were in Halo 4, or
do they revive at all? Like, do they revive Promethean Knights at all in this one? I don't think they do.
I think they were. Yeah, I think in my game they did a little bit.
They
They definitely did the shield. Yeah.
They heal them, but they don't revive them once you kill them.
Do they heal them? Maybe.
Yeah, they heal them. So like if you shoot off like part of its little like back thing, it can heal them and put it back on.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I
So
think
no
that's
reviving,
their
which is
thing.
good. They updated them a little bit, which is nice. They look the same, but yeah, it's nice that they don't. They were just so overwhelming and annoying in Halo 4. They overdid it, but now that they have the soldiers, they don't have to rely on them as much, which is nice. David, do you climb up on top of the prowler and do some damage up there, or are you usually just kind of staying in this stairs and catwalk areas?
Well, there's a saw in this area, so I pick up that bad boy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I mow some shit down.
You gotta get up close though. This is
it ain't all that great on heroic, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I make myself use it. It's terrible against the Promethean Knights.
Is it?
It's not that good at all. You gotta focus fire.
It's a fun weapon to have in general, but whenever you see it, I gotta pick it up too. There's some SMGs around here, I think too, and I think there's some DMRs and whatnot. Just a lot of UNSC weapons in general. I think I was rocking UNSC the entire time. Maybe
There's
a little bit at the end.
There's a couple Hydras and a rocket launcher as well, which make taking out the Promethean Knights way easier.
Oh, that's nice. So Hydras, we talked about Hydra. I think it was the first episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it fires off a bunch of grenades, right?
There's like mini rockets.
Yeah, mini
rockets.
rockets.
Like mini rockets, and it has tracking on it and stuff. It's obviously doesn't pack as much punch as like one round from a rocket launcher, but if you get a whole clip into them, it's pretty good.
I did do a knight assassination when I finally. That's
they're
a lot
nice.
of fun. Yeah, you gotta rip off their sword, stab them. It's so good.
Real nice.
Very nice. Yeah, this is a cool little area. It's a nice little set piece. We once we clear out the area, then we go and access the terminal inside the Prowler itself and figure out that, the blue team was here indeed, right? We can tell by the Prowler. And then they actually went down into the mines. And so we ask Sloan so politely if we can go down in the mines and chase after him. He's a little reluctant, but he eventually does open the door for you. So you head down further into the mines. And then we get to, it's actually not, we don't head right down into the mines. So he opens the door and then you go into like this next area. And this is where those snipers are, those soldier snipers are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them off in the distance, and they're black. They're like a black metal. They're a little darker.
But they got really shiny faces.
They have very shiny faces, and you can see when they're aiming at you, like you can see that red, reticle dot show up on your face.
Thankfully, these binary rifles don't work like Halo 4's binary rifles, where you just are dead.
Yeah, so what's the difference here? Are they firing something really fast? Is that what it is?
No, so it's a concentrated laser.
Okay.
So it's a concentrated laser that you focus on someone for just a couple seconds and then they'll die, but it gives you enough time to react when the Prometheans are doing it.
Mm-hmm. So you can
so
move out of the way if you're being hit right away.
Yeah, so instead of like a one shot, it's like a bzzz. It's like a sting bzzz.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I wasn't sure if it was like multiple rapid hits because it has that buzz, but that makes sense. Yeah, so this is, I do like how they've built this area because there are vehicles around. You can't drive any of them here, but it does show you that it is an industrial area. I think they do a good job of making the setting feel real, feel lived in, feel used. But yeah, so once you clear this area, then there's another door that Sloan has to open for you. You open that door, and then that's when you start to head down further into the mine area. And there is actually some dialogue, from one of the soldiers where he talks about something about, let's see, I think I wrote it down here. Hold on. It was the warden didn't, these aren't cleared by the warden. I'm like, oh, interesting. So that dialogue is out there, if you can catch that.
They talk really funny to the soldiers.
Mm-hmm. This next area is huge. This is where you activate the turret right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's this big, giant room, and it's just kind of mining. It's a mining setting, and there's pipes all over, and just all this construction equipment, whatnot. Is giant. It's more or less you just have to get to the end of it, but there's a lot of Prometheans in between you and the end. Is it possible to skip this? I feel like there's like some pipes on the side where maybe you can jump over.
No,
and skip the whole area.
No, it doesn't bring you far enough.
Okay.
Going up the pipes is where you get a bunch of power weapons and stuff, but like you can't skip the whole thing. Well, you could run past it. I've never done it. There's a lot of enemies there.
On easy, you could probably run past all of this, but anything more you kind of have to take out because there's just a crazy amount of like crawlers and stuff.
There's so many. Yeah, it's easy to get overwhelmed here. When I was playing with my buddy Justin, like we hopped down right away, and we just got one. If it was just one of us, just got easily overwhelmed, and then the other person would try to go revive the other person, and then they would die right away. So you really have to kind of stand up top on this kind of overlook. It's almost like a sniper overlook right away, and then clear out a bunch of the crawlers and the soldiers. Some of them will kind of come up and chase after you, but it's usually not in a big horde, so they thin themselves out as they're doing that. But yeah, I would definitely say in my strategy, especially on heroic or higher, is you got to thin the herd from up high before you start to proceed. David, is that your approach as well, or you do anything different?
Pretty much the same. There's a bunch of Hydra sniper rifles and some saws around the place. DMR kicking around. You really got there is a gun goose. I have.
Yeah, what's that doing down there?
I don't know. It's weird.
It's a trap anyway, so you get that gun
You're
goose, you're
stuck
dying.
on that thing, yeah.
Yeah. You do. I mean, you have to take your time in this area. You really do to get through it on the higher difficulties. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a bad time. If you rush through it, it's gonna take way longer. There is a bunch of exploding tanks or barrels. I don't really ever use those. Krysta, do you use those at all to blow up the enemies?
The splinter turrets, yeah, all the time.
No,
Yeah.
there's like barrels.
Oh, the barrels.
Like
Oh,
red,
hell yeah.
flammable barrels.
So
Do you use those?
The barrels are weird because they're kind of laggy.
Oh.
Like, you'll shoot a barrel and then, like, maybe 2 seconds later it'll explode.
Oh, interesting.
They were being a little weird for me because and they'd also respawn as well.
The barrels
like,
respawn?
Yeah,
Nice.
I was like, what is going on? It was weird.
Oh, weird.
So
It's an Easter egg.
There's a big giant vehicle in the middle, and I really wanted to drive it, but you can't. It's
Nope.
got these huge wheels. It looks like a lot of fun, but no, you cannot drive that. But you can hide behind it, hide behind the wheels if you want. What else is going on in this room too? Because there's like lava spilling down into the area. It's a cool room. There's a lot going on and lots to soak in here. But
why
this
is there so much lava though? Like,
There's
you're not
lots.
that deep into the crust of the earth that there would be like free flowing lava everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It
I don't
doesn't
know, it's
look
it's
very...
been glassed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's kind
so
of
is it
fucked
still
up.
like just the planet is still melted
Maybe.
partially?
Weird things happen when you glass a
Maybe,
planet.
the tectonic plates are all out of alignment, all kind of fucked up. Maybe that's how like the thing is revealed a little bit later. Maybe because of all the glassing in such a concentrated area.
Yeah.
We can explain it away, Krista. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Or Josh Holmes just thought it would look cool. That could have been it.
No,
Yeah,
that
that's
probably is closer to what it is, honestly.
Yeah. So have some fun here. Take your time, like we said, and just slowly. The thing is, if you get too far ahead, because the crawlers, crawlers and soldiers just move all around. It's just easy for them to get behind you. So you really just have to clear everybody out before you move forward. You go up this ramp here. Towards the end of the room, and then you get some captains and there's at least one knight to take out here at the end, but they're usually not too bad because you have a splinter turret you can usually grab from one of the captains and clear out the captains, or excuse me, the knights from there. Yeah, that's a big room though. I mean, there's a lot going on, and it can definitely take a while. Once we clear out the entire area, then we do climb up this stairs area, and there's like catwalk that goes across through some rocks and some more lava and whatnot. Your buddies talk about how, I think it's Vale, she chimes in, and she talks about how the Forerunners seem more aggressive, and there actually haven't been any Forerunner artifacts found on Meridian yet, so maybe that's why this is going on. Any other thoughts on just the exposition dialogue?
Some of it's kind of interesting because they kind of hint, and it kind of confuses me a little bit, but they kind of start talking about Sloan and how we're fighting them, but clearly Blue Team didn't fight their way in, so they're kind of hypothesizing why. So Blue Team was like, were they let in? The Forerunners not here beforehand. That Sloan helped them get in, so there's a lot of chit chat going on here.
Sloan is pretty sketchy throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, like
Yes.
I'm not even sure what the situation is. Did Blue Team just walk in, or did they fight in?
Right. Yeah, it seems. I think Buck comments in the next area. He's like, there isn't any signs of a struggle at all. Or maybe he says it right before we get into this area here. That we just.
It's right where the
cleared out. It's
snipers are. That's where they talk about this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's like, it doesn't seem like there was a fight, so what's going on here? Also, so I did miss, as I was blazing through this, the blind skull. So right when you walk into this area here, where we just cleared out, where you activate the turret, the manual turret and whatnot, there's that big door that you enter through. The blind skull is up above there. You got to climb up in the rafters area, and there's the blind skull is up in the corner there. So definitely grab that. There's also earthquakes going on in this area.
Yep.
So right when you walk down, the earth shakes a little bit. Tanaka, I think, comments on that. So the earth shakes a couple times, and it's, some of the intel hinted at that as well. And in Meridian Station, there was some tectonic stuff going on. So yeah, something is happening here, and we're almost there. Something is going on. We proceed further on, and then we see this giant hole, I guess, and some more weird Forerunner-y stuff is around here. If you look down on the hole, there are some. They're not sentinels. They're Forerunner droids, I think is what they're referred to as. They are constructors.
Yeah.
And we've seen those before in Halo 2 and Halo 3. They don't really attack you at all. They're not for combat, but they're more for like fixing stuff. Hence the term constructor. So you can actually shoot them if you want.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't be mean. Just let them float around.
They're
nice
adorable.
enough. They are adorable. Little floaty silver blue thingies. So yeah, and then we head down into this big, I don't know, I guess just a giant hole, and there's more lava, more rock. Lots of lava in this mission.
You really like holes, huh?
The elevator starts to descend, and then Sloane pops on and says, hey, wait a minute, where'd you guys go? And so now you're all of a sudden outside of contact range, radio range with Sloane. So you finally can think and talk without him hearing you anymore.
And they comment on that. They're like, thank God.
Now some privacy.
Yeah, finally some privacy. At the bottom of this elevator, this is where lots of interesting things happen, and we need to talk about this.
Spooky.
Now we get a big old cutscene here. David, what happens?
We do. A whole lot of things happen, Colin, and this is a cutscene that I think is pretty divisive. In terms of like what happens, how it happens. Do you like it? Do you not like it? It's pretty damn crazy. So this is the fight, and it's kind of shocking because I think this is for me where the game turns and becomes something else. But
Okay.
This is essentially the hunt, the whole hunt that the game is leading up to. This is it. It's over now. Because
This is the warden, right?
is this the warden?
Yeah, this is the warden.
Oh, I'm ahead of
Yeah.
myself, so I'm
You
gonna
are ahead of yourself.
I'm gonna pull that back. Everybody forget what I said. So, Osiris.
I don't. This one isn't as divisive, but I think it is.
No.
It's also skimmed over, and I'll comment when you're done talking about it. But there's a lot going on in this cutscene.
There should
and then
probably
we
be
have our
more
fight.
explanation of what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But essentially, Osiris come into a room, and it's forerunning as all hell. There is lava everywhere. This fancy heat shimmer, and a voice starts talking to them, kind of cryptically. Clearly, Forerunner. The guys realize, oh my god, we're on a light bridge. We're in the open. We're going to run ahead. So they run in and kind of take cover. They don't really know what's going on. The door kind of closes in front of them, and they're like, oh, crap, we're caught. And then, if you've got subtitles on, it tells you, Warden, your presence in the Guardian's shelter is undesirable. So something is speaking, and it's called the Warden, which is pretty cool. So the screen kind of pans up and shows all these little, I guess, pods activating and turning on. And then one of them kind of opens out and kind of disassembles in an amazing manner and then reassembles together into what we're going to call not didact.
Not didact. Yeah, that is not the didact.
So you're getting what is essentially Halo 5's equivalent, which is clearly a whole animatronic, and he introduces himself as, I am the Warden Eternal, I stand in service to Cortana. Which is one
Cortana?
crazy ass sentence.
He stands in service to Cortana. That is interesting.
Isn't it? It's what a way to say it. So that obviously kicks off a whole stream of thinking. Definitely with Osiris being kind of confused as what the hell is going on. So you have this massive being pretty much telling you the other humans are approved for passage because he's in service to Cortana, who is after John. And he goes, regretfully, you are not. And pretty much pulls out a big-ass goddamn sword. He pretty much uses kind of force push and pushes all the dudes very dramatically away. And then you get a boss battle, baby.
Boss fight.
Yeah, one of our first Halo boss fights in some time.
Yeah.
This dude is 16 feet and a half tall.
Well, there's a shot where you see him kind of like by the Spartans, and he is just enormous. The Spartans are enormous. They're like 7 to
7
8
feet, 7 feet tall.
7
Yeah,
feet,
7.5. So this dude is giant. This guy's way bigger than the Didact. He's huge. And he's got this big metal sword he starts to swing at you, and he's got this crazy, what is it, like a gravity bomb thing that he'll shoot at you. It's
the
slowly
black
moving
hole
orb thing. Yeah.
Real annoying.
Yeah, this is
real annoying.
This is an interesting. I like the arena though, personally, because there's enough verticality and you can climb around on the side. There's 4 of you. The only problem is that if you die off on the side, sometimes your buddies are too far away to come and revive you.
The best thing I found is that you just ping the warden so that they're all around the warden all the time.
And I forget about that ability sometimes. So, just because we've been playing all the other Halo games or I've been playing other games in general that just don't have it. But it's you really need to leverage that and take advantage of that pinging or telling your team to go and attack him. Because otherwise you don't know really what they're up to. They'll just kind of run around, and it won't be as much of a
just focus on
attack.
like crawlers. It's like
because there's a couple crawlers here and there. Are there soldiers in this fight too? Or is it
no,
mainly just crawlers?
No, not
think
this
they're
one.
just crawlers. Yeah.
Okay. He is super interesting. I think we'll talk about. Why don't we do this fight and then we'll talk about him in general? But yeah, so you have this fight where there's giant dudes in the middle and these ramps that are climbing around or around on the side that you can use. I think he always has that black spot in his back, right? You don't have to.
Yeah.
The
always.
weak spot. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's always open.
Yeah, so you can do damage. I don't know what the multipliers are, but he's a bullet sponge, so you can cause all sorts of damage in the front, and it won't really phase him as much as if you finally hit him in the back. And he staggers at some point, right? So you shoot him in the back, and he'll stagger a bit, and then he'll also chase after you with his giant sword,
which is kind of terrifying.
It is.
It is, and it gets worse as you go on.
Yeah, he gets pretty aggressive, and it's a one-hit kill, I think, on every level, I believe.
Yes.
If he gets you with that sword. And then what's the other attack? He has like a
beam.
It's like is it a beam attack?
It's like a shot. He like shoots you.
Okay.
He fires a face laser. Lasers from the face.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, David, what do you think about this fight overall?
In order to avoid spoilers, I'll just say I don't like it because it gets repetitive. And I've done this game so many times, so many missions, and so many difficulties that right now I can tell you I do not like fighting the Warden Eternal.
It also doesn't help if you play Warzone as well.
He's in Warzone quite a bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he pops up and there's
all
multiples.
The time.
It's I don't know. I guess like we were talking about like Halo 4's ending. We didn't really want a boss fight, and even though it was kind of weird that it was in kind of a quick time event / a cutscene, but I think I even prefer that than having a bullet sponge like the Warden Eternal, with his one hit melee, which is infuriating. And on the higher difficulties, it's just like, it kills me. I'm not a fan.
I think this boss and a lot of Halo 5 in general was built around the fact that, hey, people are going to play this game, this campaign with 4 players.
Yeah.
Right? So I think a lot of the mechanics that they built in, especially to him, are for, he's focused on one guy, but your other teammates can get him from behind and it'll make it easier. Any additional thoughts, Krysta, on the fight?
So, kind of forgetting about the rest of the campaign and the multiplayer and just thinking about, like, the first time I faced the Warden, it was really cool. Like, you have this huge Forerunner guy running at you all the time, like, all craziness. You don't know, you kind of figure out pretty quickly how to kill him, how to avoid him, stuff like that. I mean, on normal, he's not super difficult.
Yeah.
Once you've played the game a lot and you're used to him, even on heroic, he's not super difficult. You just know what kind of weapons to shoot him with. But,
yeah, and that's like, as soon as he starts running at you, you got to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, you just run away. You learn his tells, really, and then it's not as bad of a battle, this one at least. But, Warden Eternal's a fun boss battle. It's nice to have another boss battle in Halo. I think he involved some strategy, but also, like, the Promethean Knights kind of teach you how to defeat him, which I really like. How they kind of added that in. The whole back thing is kind of an overarching theme of the Prometheans. So, overall...
He doesn't break apart, though, like the Knights, right? Like, he just staggers.
He staggers, and then he gets, like, when he dies, he gets sucked into a black hole and goes poof.
His death mechanic is pretty cool. His animation. That is pretty cool, I'll give you that.
Yeah, like him kind of getting sucked into it. And there's not really an explanation for the black hole or anything like that, so don't ask.
No.
I'm going to imagine, since it's, well, spoiler, it's some kind of slip space something. I'm going to say it's a slip space bubble thing.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it is. It's not a black hole, it's a slip space thing, yeah. Because he's being powered by something.
Yeah. There just a couple other additions to the fight. There are weapons strewn about. There is an incineration cannon kind of in the top, in the middle.
Yeah.
And that thing comes in
Those
handy.
top platforms are where you get all your good weapons.
Yeah, but you have to do some clever jumping to get up there. It's interesting. I like you remembering the first time I played. I was like, "Whoa, this is cool. I'm into this." But I also do feel like it was a little unsatisfying when I did take him down. Like, it was challenging, and then I remember it taking quite a few times to take him down. But then for some reason, after I did, I was like, okay, that's it. Okay, all right, now let's go. I don't know. It felt a little weird once I did take him down. It was obviously a good feeling when he kind of gets sucked in, but
I think it's probably because of how this game pans out. Like, defeating the Warden the first time never feels like a ending or like a big how a big boss battle ends. There's not that payoff at the end, and you kind of you'll understand that more as we play the game.
Yeah, he just kind of goes away, right? So let's talk about the Warden here in a second. Well, I guess let's talk about him now. So you enter the room and you see all these pods around. There's more. The Warden is more complicated than you think, and it's not clear right away what's going on. But those, you see kind of those faces. There's hints on what it is, but the Warden will. This isn't the first time we'll see the Warden. He goes into a slip space portal when he dies. But anything else to add to the interesting thing about him, and we can talk a little bit about this, is he mentioned he stands in service to Cortana. There is a comic in Tales from Slipspace that talks about that specifically.
Yes.
Definitely worth a read. Very visually interesting. Frank O'Connor did the writing. I don't know if he art directed it either. He didn't. I don't think he's not an artist, but maybe he came up with the concept. I don't know. But so definitely give that a read. It's called is it Dominion Splinter?
Yeah,
I believe. Yep. So give that a read, and
it's
it talks
in
about
Tales from Slipspace.
Mm-hmm. It talks about how Cortana essentially kind of outsmarts him.
It bridges Halo 4 Cortana to Halo 5 Cortana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's how she got into the domain, which is kind of revealed in the cutscene in the previous mission, and that's how she essentially cures rampancy and is still alive and is essentially where she is now, getting John
doing something crazy.
Doing something.
Yeah, apparently talking to this guy and making it so.
Hanging out with the Warden.
Yeah.
So there's not actually a lot of backstory to the Warden, surprisingly.
Okay.
He's just been
not a whole lot.
Hanging out at the domain. He's the guardian of the domain, pretty much, and he just kind of chills out there, I guess.
So do we know, so now that we met the Warden, is he the one that's been directing all these Forerunner fights?
Probably.
Is that?
See, that's what's kind of confusing to me because of the reveal that happens in the next mission. I'm kind of like, whose side is who on, and
sure,
who's activating what.
Yeah, and there's a lot to talk about still, so maybe we should hold off on that conversation. But it's interesting that I guess in this moment now, thinking about it as I'm playing, as I've encountered this, like it would make sense because Blue Team was essentially let through down into this next area, this cutscene that we'll talk about a little bit. It would make sense that the Warden is the one that has been controlling the soldiers and the crawler, like all the Prometheans up to this point, because they're doing their best to stop you from getting to John here in a little bit, right? I mean, that in my mind now, talking through that, it makes sense that he's the one that's in charge, and especially that he's the one that stands in service of Cortana.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Okay, now let's get to that next cutscene that you talked about. That's a little more controversial.
This is a controversial
this door.
Yeah, so Osiris walked through the door and says, Locke goes, the warden said Cortana was calling them to her. She's not here. So they believe that the blue team were trying to get to Cortana, and that she may or may not have been on this planet. So when you walk through, it kind of reveals that there you go. There's a big ass machine sitting in there, and Buck kind of goes, whoa, they built them big. I think that's a Guardian. And Tanaka has very astutely says, nothing gets past you, Buck. So we have a Guardian buried underground. Vale discovers a kind of teleportation little device, and in doing so, these little kind of like lily pads, and you can kind of teleport quickly in between each one. It's a weird design, but whatever. It made for an interesting cutscene. Blue team,
exactly.
Blue team arrive on a different set of lily pads, and immediately the teams kind of start chasing each other. So Osiris gets pretty much in action here, and as you see, they have their quarries that they're hunting. Here they are running. It's pretty kind of cool. They're just kind of bouncing through all these kind of teleportation devices. Locke kind of pulls away from his team and kind of reaches the kind of upper platform more or less at the same time that blue team do. John is a little bit kind of lagging behind. This is the big moment now. This is the encounter of these two Spartan teams. I remember watching this for the first time. I was super hype. I was like, fuck, yes. Here we go.
Pause it. Let me go pop some popcorn. Let me watch this. Let's go.
Shit's kicking off. I'm going to get a fight. Is it a cutscene? What the hell's going on? Is it a quick time event? Is it Spartan on Spartan? Oh my god. It's so exciting. So Locke just essentially wusses out here a little bit. So blue team pretty much ignore him. They kind of just stop right before the last teleporter. They just stare at Locke.
Locke's got his BR drawn.
He got his BR drawn, and he's just shouting at the state they are, stand down. I get pretty much the impression the blue team are just completely unimpressed. As they should be, which is pretty awesome. John kind of just strolls on in, gives a quick look to blue team, and gives them the nod, and they just teleport out. They walk out.
They just
no
leave.
bother to them. They just leave. Locke is, to be fair, he is quite respectful in his request. He is like, you're absent without leave. This is your chance to come. This is your one chance to come home peacefully. John has no intentions of going home. He knows exactly what he's doing. Well, I say he knows exactly what he's doing. He is really pretty much making decisions off his gut. Cortana is the carrot on the end of the stick for him, so he's just chasing. But he has no interest in following orders. He's doing his own thing right now. Blue team go through the teleporter. Locke does nothing. Master Chief pretty much just says, I have the job to do, and just gives him the cold shoulder and makes his way towards. Locke steps up and pretty much says, that's not your job.
He said, Cortana is our concern now, sir.
Cortana, and then that is, the wrong thing to say.
Yep.
John ain't having that. He's pretty much...
It's just a bad word.
Oh, he goes like hell she is. And he just lashes out, knocks the BR, smacks... Oh, I can't really go through this fight, but it's kind of boxing at the start. They're kind of throwing punches. They're a little bit dodgy. They have Locke goes to punch him and John just catches his fist, and I'm just like, yes, it's so good. He just kind of pushes it away, and then he kind of judo chops him, and Locke just kind of rolls away. Locke then gets up, has the kind of upper hand, kind of knees Chief in the face. There's a bunch of kicks. They're kind of slow. It's not like...
It's a very slow fight.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel... It feels more like a fight you would watch on a boxing channel or something.
Yeah. They're heavyweights.
Yeah.
You can tell they're heavyweights.
Pretty
Is that what they're supposed to be?
No, Spartans aren't necessarily supposed to be heavyweights. The armor doesn't weigh them down. The armor makes them faster.
It's power.
The armor is heavy, but...
The armor is heavy, but when you're in it, and when it's we've had Spartans fighting Spartan, even fully armored in the books, and those fights are described as fast, brutal, loud as all hell. Buck has got in his story, his kind of origins, he's fighting a Spartan as well. Talks about his training and stuff like that. But like they're vicious fights, and like I had that going into my head, and we got something a bit slower than that. So John kind of flips, gets locked on the ground. He goes to punch him. I guess it's kind of emotional. I don't think he's fighting very well, and I also think he's holding a lot back on purpose. He kind of punches the ground, misses Locke. Locke rolls away. He gets up. Locke is kind of he's all knees. He's kind of got his own kind of fighting style. It's very different than John's, and he kind of backhands John's face and smashes his visor.
The backhand smashes it.
The backhand smashes
Which backhands aren't normally very powerful.
Well, we got Spartans.
Depending on how fast you're like flicking the backhand.
But John's cracked visor is very, very interesting because of now we have a place in time that we can date things. And by that I mean if you go all the way back to Poncho Chief, he has a smashed faceplate.
Yeah.
Which I'm still convinced that what we saw there will come in to Infinite somewhere. Because we have John,
his visor's working.
Fixed,
and
right?
it's not
in the
same helmet.
So maybe they'll pick this up, maybe they won't. But
it was John a dream.
John was facing down a Guardian with Cortana's keychain in front of him.
I feel like that's non-canonical at this point.
Probably isn't. But they could easily tie it in with John searching by himself for whatever in the end of Halo 5. We can talk about it when we get there. But anyway, John's cracked visor is cool. And it's
so meanwhile, all this is going on. Osiris is just watching this.
Oh, hell yeah. They are not getting involved. And we know how Buck feels about it. Tanaka and Vale never really weigh in on their mission. They never comment on it at all. Which is a bit disappointing. You think you'd have that team kind of fleshed out a little bit more gelled together. Some dialogue would have been nice about like what they were doing and the gravity of it. But like we said,
that was a good point.
There isn't really anything there. This is a turning point in the fight where John is no longer holding back. You can see it. His slow rise and his turn back to Locke is kind of like, you're fucked now, son. Do you know what I mean? This is it. Like, Locke slowly reveals his armor restraint. John doesn't give a shit because he is badass. The music kind of changed here. The music is awesome for this fight, so it gets way more dramatic now. Locke just tries to armor restrain Chief. Chief just kind of like maneuvers his way around, holds his arm. There's a lot of knees kicks, a lot of struggling. It's not really a fight now. It's kind of a struggle. John just headbutts Locke, smacks the armor restraint right on him in a very smooth motion as Locke tries and pulls his gun. So Locke ends up locked down with his pistol on Chief. Chief just slowly backs up and walks away as the kind of cavern starts caving in. And then John just picks up his gun, puts it on his back, and slowly walks into the teleporter. Peace is out. Then all the kind of lily pads start moving and congealing away. Tanaka runs up and unlocks Locke's armor. Locke is kind of pissed off, and then Osiris gotta get the fuck out because shit's falling down. This is kind of cool. I do like their escape. Buck kind of realizes that their pads are falling down first, but maybe we can get out the same way that Blue Team got in. So then they have this cool, what's the word I'm looking for? Parkour kind of run through all the kind of the pads, and like one of their platform kind of turns on the side, and you see all the team activating their boosters and kind of wall running, which is really, really cool. They're like stabilizers and pushing them into the wall so they can still run. It's pretty badass.
So meanwhile, the Guardian is rising.
The Guardian is activating up.
Its eyes are glowing and its teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Why does it have teeth? But it's got teeth.
Because it has to guard you. Buck kind of falls behind and ends up kind of falling and catching on with one arm. And he's just like, oh, hell. And then as the lily pad is falling, Locke comes back through, pulls him up, and gets back in. It was pretty cool. It was a dramatic moment. I kind of liked it. And then you just see kind of the Guardian assemble and slowly start to rise as we fade to black.
Yeah.
And I think the next part is part of the next mission, so I won't go any further than that.
Yeah. It feels like they could have continued this mission. We're going to stop it here and we'll do all our other stuff. But, if we were playing Halo 4, they probably would have just continued it on.
Yeah.
This big, long, giant mission. But
we had so many discussions about this fight scene in our Facebook group over the years and stuff like that. And people have come down on different sides of it and how it's not truly representative. But I think there's probably things happening that kind of influenced the fight in terms of maybe Locke wasn't wholly committed to what he was doing. Same with John, he was probably holding back. He's obviously very emotional. It's a weird situation.
John doesn't know Locke, right?
No.
He doesn't know him at all.
No, I don't think so.
Does he even know? Yeah, I don't think he knows him
Book.
at all.
No.
I don't know if there's any, like, if they ever have an encounter, or maybe he knows of him, but that's about it. Like, he sees another Spartan that's trying to take him in, but I think to him, he's just like, who's this guy? Like, no, I'm not coming in.
Yeah, very much so. And I think Locke is, like, he's branded as Oni. It's on his armor. So, like, I don't think John would be overly impressed or even interested in entertaining him.
Yeah.
Also because John knows he's AWOL. He knows, he's going after Cortana.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, because they already ordered him back, and he said negative infinity.
And he's going to know what they're doing. So he knows their response is going to be to send people after him. Anyway.
Krysta, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. Some parts I really like about the fight, and some parts I don't. I just thought the fighting style itself just didn't feel right for Spartans.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. If you're in a fight like that, the dumbest fighting stance you can take is the head-on fighting stance. Like, facing them,
right.
facing them. They have your whole body to hit you in, and I feel like Spartans are a little smarter than that, especially with, like, the hooks and stuff. Like, a hook is not a very powerful punch.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna keep your fist kind of back. You wanna keep it towards your side and go from there. You wanna, like, snap it. But, yeah, just the fact that they, like, were doing, like, head-to-head just didn't make any sense to me. Like, a good fighting stance is, like, your side instead, like, standing kind of sideways.
Sure.
So, it just, like, that itself just didn't make much sense to me, because these Spartans are obviously trained a lot in hand-to-hand combat. I mean, like, one of the first things that John actually does once he gets the augmentations is he fights a ODST hand-to-hand and just annihilates him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he
I don't
in
know.
fact, murder him.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about this fight a little bit more, John is fighting because obviously he's pissed at, like, the guy mentioned Cortana. Hey, that's my lady. But he also doesn't want them to follow them anymore. So this is his chance to put a stop to that, for him to escape. Because if John just ran off, I mean, maybe Locke would have shot at him. It wouldn't have killed him. But the Osiris would have just followed them into the portal, and then who knows what would have happened there. So this is kind of John's chance to take a little bit of a stand and say, okay, all right, you guys are following me. I'm almost to my goal. I'm going to try to put a stop to this here. So, like, putting up a fight in this moment makes sense, and I guess, not having a shootout makes sense, because Chief probably doesn't want to kill this guy. At least that's what David was alluding to, is like he's kind of holding back. He just wants to get him off his back for now.
Yeah, but he's fighting like he's having a friendly brawl with Locke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the intent to kill doesn't feel there. The intent to defend doesn't really feel there.
Well, I don't think there is an intent to kill from either side.
No,
intent to defend, at least. He's trying to get away, so he wants to dispatch Locke as quickly as possible in a non-lethal way.
Yeah, maybe it would have been made better if there was a little bit more, like one of them lifts the other one up and, like, tries to throw him off the edge or something like that.
Like, any kind of hip throws or anything like that would have been nice to see.
Right.
But he's not actively trying to, like, distract or, you know, cause him, like, like, in this situation, Chief just wants to get the fuck out, right? He wants to keep Locke from following him through the portal, so he needs to act fast. I mean, what he could have been doing was delaying the fight so that he could run through the portal just as it was ending, which would make more sense to what he's doing.
That sounds about right.
Because if he wanted to, you know, have a fight where he needed to distract Locke and then just run through the portal, he would have been able to do that pretty fast, I'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if he puts down Locke really easy, he's got another 3 Spartans right in front of him.
Yeah. That's a good point.
He might have been stalling then.
Yeah. There was a little missed opportunity to use. There was no ground pounding that happened, or no Spartan charging.
Yeah, I wish they used some of the Spartan abilities. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's probably universal that people were underwhelmed by this fight here. As we talked about, they don't want to kill each other, so what else are they going to do but, like, from a choreographed, you know, power brawl fantasy that this should have been, it just didn't quite deliver.
Honestly, it just falls down to, like, the fight choreography wasn't very good.
Yeah.
That's all it really was.
I think that's fair. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we move on to the next mission, evacuation?
There's not a whole lot of trivia. I think I've been given out of this already by Halo 5. But anyway, at the section where Osiris rides the elevator down to the cavern to claim the Guardian, you can actually jump all the way down to the entrance instead of riding the elevator. The game will freeze and load the next a little more halfway down, but it will resume control after a few seconds. Although Dron's visor is cracked in this level, when you play him later in the game, his HUD on the inside remains unchanged, although his in-game character correctly shows damaged visor. I think that's just because, in my own assumption, the interior of the visor is smart enough to compensate for damage on the exterior to give you like a clean vision.
It wasn't smart enough for Noble 6.
Krysta Brown.
He didn't have Mark 6 armor though.
No, he didn't.
No.
He marked dead armor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
6 feet under armor.
Yeah, because he did. We have, like we said, the Norm Fang is in there. We kind of called that out already. It functions identically to a normal sniper rifle in the campaign, although with the exception of it not being able to pick up any ammo from a regular sniper, like I already mentioned. There's a random thing about, there's a Portuguese settler speaks Spanish in a Portuguese translation, but the same actor with a heavy Brazilian accent, which is weird. But there you go.
All right, cool. Let's do some intel, and then I think we have a fun community question this time.
You did good, Colin.
Thank you. But let's do some intel first, because Krysta wants to talk about that intel.
Oh, God. There's this name in these intels, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it's Thriviathan? Thrivianathan? Yep. Thrivianathan, I think?
Yep.
I'm just going to call him Mr. T. I'm not saying that more than once. All right, so Governor, the first one is called Messages from Apogee Station, 1 out of 3. Governor, I just got a message from Mr. T, losing his mind. Said he found something in the rock near Meridian Station, unknown material, too damn big to be man-made anyway. I need to check his readings, but I want to give you a heads up. So he obviously found a spooky Forerunner thing. Ooh.
Is it the Guardian?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when they're talking about Forerunner structures, they're either talking about the Guardian or, like, the structure that had all the Wardens in it down there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Also, where did all those Wardens go? They just, like, pieced out. They're not in the battle, like, in that arena at all.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Maybe they slip-spaced away.
They did. They were scared.
They're like, lol. See you later, losers. The second one is Message from Apogee Station 2 out of 3. Governor Mr. T talked me into letting him take a crew to see what was under the rock. He found, well, metal. So, pretty good. Not slag, nothing I know. I'll send you some samples shortly. The next one is Message from Apogee Station 3 out of 3. Hey, Mr. T, Salone's saying to force it open. See what's behind that door. He figures that Liang Dortmund might pay us a bonus if we find something good. I'm pretty sure they just let out all the Prometheans and made them angry.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. You don't mess with Forerunner artifacts. It's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is History of Meridian, part 3 out of 6. Despite the early success of the Prospector Party, the Stuart gained control of Meridian after a lengthy campaign known as the Free Patriot Movement. The Colonial Administration Authority eventually recognized that the Stuarts... recognizing the Stuarts ending the years of strife. So it was some kind of civil war, it looks like, on Meridian. So, interesting. The next one is History... It says History of Meridian 4 out of 6, but the first thing it says is Free Frontier Education presents the History of Meridian Part 7. So...
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just talks about how military production has served the colony's primary source of revenue, and the contract for the Scorpion MBT ensured Meridian's bright future. The Scorpion MBT was an early version of the Scorpion we all know and love.
Yay,
So that was
Scorpion.
produced here on Meridian, the Scorpion.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's pretty nice.
That's cool.
The next two are Drill Operator's Personal Log 1 out of 2 and 2 out of 2. Says he's equipping a team to rehabilitate a glassed planet. Accounting for its extreme conditions, uniforms have to deal with extreme cold surface temps, as well as heat generated by drills, so they used a UNSC-developed tech called a gel layer. The gel goes on under your clothes and keeps you temperature steady. The stuff is magic. That's the stuff they have in Mjolnir, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you know?
The gel layer.
That explains why they can survive in this volcano-y area.
But apparently it's really cold.
Lava-y.
They said they had to
Beca-
deal with extreme cold.
It would be cold at night. Think if there's no cloud cover.
Yeah, like some of the
Limited
atmosphere's been
atmosphere.
burned off. Stuff like
Weather's
that.
all kind of fucked
Good
up.
point.
The
Probably
next...
hot underground and cold on the surface, I imagine.
Yeah, that must be it. So the next one is the same guy. I should have listened to my brother when he said taking the job was a bad idea. The air is full of tiny glass particles. Rip your lungs
Ooh.
to shreds if you breathe enough of it. Between the masks and their air filters on every building, I haven't had a breath of unfiltered air in 3 years. Near
Whoa.
the same as living on a space station. Why are people on this planet?
Money.
I'm just gonna go out and enjoy some fresh air, and then your lungs just die from glass.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You ever
Imagine that.
get cut by glass? Imagine that in your lungs. Not nice. I don't think I'd like that.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Wouldn't.
Nope.
Pass.
It's like Razor Hail from Gears of War. Why are people living on that planet too? I play those games and I wonder. But anyway, so fun stuff happening here on Meridian. It's a real happy place.
Mm-hmm.
People are enjoying their lives.
So is that it?
Yeah, that's
Are you
it.
done?
Real fun time
Cool.
here. That's
Nice.
it.
Thank you. Lots of world building, as we said.
Yeah. Of how
I
shitty
think-
this place is.
Vale and Tanaka are kind of in the background of most of this so far, and we'll see what happens. But I think both of them have some interesting dialogue. Again, it's kind of all during the mission here and there, but Tanaka, knowing her background and coming from a glass planet, and like they kind of look at her, and coming from a rural glass planet, they look at her to provide some insight on what they should expect from the encountering these people here, and she has some other thoughts to share here and there, and Vale chimes in with some interesting questions about like why are they even here? Why would you be on this planet? And then I think they talk about how I think Tanaka might chime in and say they're it's money, right? Why not just pay a bunch of people to mine this planet for a couple decades, and then it's just pure corporate profit after that. Then they own the land rights. So they have some interesting dialogue here and there, but it's kind of buried because it's going on during the gameplay. Yeah, I think that is that's all. Let's do community and we'll get out of here.
Whoa. Okay.
You okay, Krysta?
Yeah.
She almost fell out of her chair.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
Whoa.
We're already finished? This mission's so long.
Should we start with Facebook?
Yeah, sure. There's no problem. So, Colin Perkins, we all know him well. The admin of yesterday at 2:28 p.m. If Master Chief was a professional fighter/wrestler, what would be the name of his finishing move? Oh, this is a good question, Colin. Question for mission debrief 5 unconfirmed mission. We got some good comments. I'm pretty happy with this. Well done, Facebook. Rasmus says, head bang and fist charge. All right. Matthew says, space diaper smash attack. Patrick says, the blue team gangbang. Oh. That's the tag team. Manny says, the galaxy's elbow. I like it. Randy, the MC hammer. That's pretty good. The Master Chief's initials, the rapper, the Mjolnir hammer. It all works. Chad says, the finisher. Duh. Colin goes fight finisher. He's a Chad. They have a little conversation here. Really
you gotta fight. You gotta finish the fight.
Finish fight. The fight finisher. Yeah, that makes sense. Dave McLaughlin says, I'm picturing him like Steve Austin screaming, I'm John 117 and I'm going to kick your Covenant ass. Finishing move is called the suborbital slam. I like that. That's pretty cool. Lucas, either the Reclaimer, that's pretty good. Finish the fight, or Ollie Ollie Oxen Free. That's pretty good too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good shout out, Lucas. Matthew comes back in again, says, contrarily, arbiters would be the schlong of St. Helios. That's excellent. Miles says, the fight finisher. And we got a few of them.
Yeah.
People copping on. Noah says, John Halo guy. Thanks, Noah. Thanks. And Brad finally says, the Nova Bomb. Oh, that's pretty good. A nice ground pound from the top ropes, complete with planet-destroying power, or at least the ring. That's pretty good.
He just collapses the ring with his finishing move.
But ring, you get it? 'Cause it's
Halo.
Oh,
yeah.
You get it? There you go.
All right, very nice. Thanks, Facebook. What's Discord have to say?
All right, same question for the Discord. Rye says the bigger weapon. Broham says for Sam.
Nice. Okay.
Ian says the Mac, which stands for Massive Arm Cannon.
That's pretty good.
Chief Stain says the Sneaky Weasel. Dezuto says Chief's lucky coin. While the opponent is stood dazed after a pummeling, Chief pulls out his lucky coin and tosses it high. Heads, they get a haymaker, punch to the face. Tails, they get it in the balls. Lore Master Calix says the Ring Buster. UNSC Brexit says the Meteor.
Ooh.
Third says the Halo Drop, high altitude, low opening.
Oh, that's good.
And then Dezuto says Flying Nutbuster. And then UNSC Brexit also says Lucky makes your AI disappear. And then Impulsive says the Strong Tea aggressively teabags them to death.
That's a Halo thing.
Good job.
Ooh.
Good job, Discord. I love you.
Can you imagine that? Death by teabag?
It'd be amazing.
Oh, God.
It'd be glorious.
I don't think it would be glorious.
Well, it'd be glorious
think
to
it'd be that
watch. We're
glorious,
watching
for
the
sure.
finishing move, right?
Yeah. I just, it might be a little stinky on the other end, the receiving end.
Well, unfortunately, we're not fighting Master Chief anytime soon.
All right, that will do it for our debriefing of the Meridian Station and Unconfirmed mission from Halo 5. On the next episode, we'll be covering Evacuation. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time, evolved.
Evolved.